Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Mahatma Energy, consciously aligning with your ascension process. I've had many Mahatma Energy events in the past, and as many of you know who've been watching my videos and are doing your own or others, know that this is sort of the new format via Zoom as opposed to in a healing center live with people, which of course I'm always hoping we'll go back to one day. So welcome. Today this workshop, this event is being posted today for a very special reason. Today is a very rare and special day energetically, spiritually, astrologically, numerologically, etc. And it can't be emphasized enough. And a lot of you know this, but for those of you who don't, there has been a period of intense, what we call Stargate Days. So in our perception of the universe and things, everything breaks down to numbers, numerologically. And through the experience of numbers and the sequencing of numbers, we can, encode DNA, decode DNA, all kinds of things. And we could also realize the divine sending us messages or energy or particular downloads. And this has been heating up exponentially and has been going on all throughout time, obviously. And in recorded time, people have sort of taken it little by little more awareness of it. But now we're really in the thick of, what we call our ascension process. And even though we're going through our 3D life, it's actuating, it's actually happening. And so we see this back and forth of resistance and backlash to getting rid of the old, coming into the new, which is basically our 3D dimension raising fully into fourth dimension where duality is sharpened to release all negativity to come into fifth dimensional reality of unconditional love. And this is often chaotic, when it's unfolding. So it can seem crazy, even though we're always opening to love and light and hearing about love and light, etc. So the trick, and with these workshops, events, modalities coming through, etc., and the videos that I've been posting on the Stargate dates particularly, is to really give you all who will watch either on that particular day or afterwards a real deep, rich encodement so that when you go on your own daily to invoke the energies or, whatever you do spiritually to evolve, it's that much stronger for you, right? So from a period of 12/12/2021, you see the numbers here, the 1212 repeated, which was a very powerful Stargate, to today on 02/22/2022. For those of you who follow me, you may have noticed, and I have the links listed below, all the videos I've been posting about the sacred symbols and how to use them, all the energies and how to use them, because you get more out of it on that particular time, or when it's recorded and downloaded and encode it through these Zoom experiences so that whenever you see it, it resonates and hits you and aligns with your spirit. So there's a strong period of softening us up and also of ratcheting up the ascension process. And particularly today, culminating into, now there will be others coming, of course, but this particular period from 12/12/2021 to today, 2/22/2022, was a very strong push, if you will, from the universe to really get us one way or another, whether subconsciously or consciously, to really align with divine providence, divine intervention, divine messaging for us, whatever that may be in our life, to really move us forward and not just, wait until we're ready. The universe is ready now. We have to catch up, right? So I just wanted to go over that. So when you have a Stargate date, meaning that when you have those repeated numbers in the dates, it's a peak energetic period for the divine and indicating that it's sending us downloads. Now, most people receive it automatically, on some level subconsciously, depending on how evolved they are. But for those of us who are way showers and are aligned and want and wish to and intend to align with Source more directly, we can accelerate our ascension process, particularly on these time periods. And you'll find that you'll be going through bodily changes, can't sleep too much, lower body pains, back pains, as your body is transforming into the new crystalline body of light. And so there is a growing pain, sort of like the American Werewolf in London, but instead of becoming a werewolf, you're becoming a fully realized ascended human being. So it's a silly example, but I think you get my meaning, is that you're transforming. And so you have to allow yourself the process. And that's why we say take it easy on those days, on these time periods. But this time period particularly was so strong that it ended in today. Well, it didn't end, but it concentrated in this period, culminating today of 2/22/2022. And I just want to read over some information about it so you get an idea, an overview of what's going on, because I think it's important. So to further accentuate the importance of this time, there are 8 what we call Palodrome Days, which indicates a super intense application of energy gathering on the Stargate dates. And these are all in February. And what does that mean? So hopefully you can see from this diagram, it's not the greatest, but 2/20/2022, 2/21/22, 2/22/2022, 2/23/2022. Then we have 2/25/2022, 2/26/2022, 2/27/2022, and 2/28/2022. And the palindrome indicating that backwards and forwards, it reads the same. So that is a numerological indication that the universe is really taking this time period to really focus in and send us ding, 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 a lot of energy download about the 2, which is the union, the divine feminine, the coming together, divine masculine and feminine, etc. And so that's why it's important. It's also an ammogram, meaning that it really, hold on. I got ahead of myself and dropped the paper. It reads the same upside down as the 2/22/2022 we're talking about today is an ammogram, which means it reads up and down the same way if you flip it. So, I mean, that's neither here nor there, but the point is that it's a real powerful indication of the universe saying, okay, I'm going to really zap you now with energy and download, etc. There's also astrologically a Venus-Mars conjunction in Capricorn. And a word about this is from the website Divine Energy. To say that these energies today are intense would be an understatement. The Venus-Mars conjunction kicked off on February 1st, lasts for about 2 months. It's an unusually long time. It forms exact on 2/16, called the sacred merge and meeting of the cosmic lovers, to balance and harmonize the divine feminine and divine masculine energies within and without, to assist in the higher ascension and the anchoring of the energies of the new earth. Align us with the super powerful portal of energy that's coming on 2/22/2022, which is today, allowing higher activations to pour in. So that's another indication from another spiritual source telling us that a lot is going down today. Also, Pluto, the planet Pluto's return, is in conjunction, return to the birth and founding of the United States, signaling a rebirth of the nation. Pluto is about rebirth and transformation. Pluto creates higher shifts, and this has not happened for 248 years. It last happened on July 4th, 1776, exactly the exact founding day of America. Another particular time it fell was when Rome fell, when Pluto returned to its birth astrologically there. So again, another astrological indication that today is a really powerful peak day of transformation, letting go, and allowing in, which is why I was guided, of course, to post this and record this on today. So even if you're watching it later on, you're still getting all the download and the encodement and the effect of it. Let's see what else we have here. 2/22/2022. This could be the biggest portal of your lifetime, Stargate portal. The energy flowing in will push your ascension to ever higher states of consciousness. The light codes coming into the planet in the next few days are quite literally upgrading your DNA. This is a mass awakening on a grand scale for all of planet Earth. Your healing, psychic, and channeling abilities are all coming back online. Now is the time to stretch all aspects of your being. Expect to receive and see miracles like never before. How wonderful. Also, this is the last time in our lifetimes that we will see 6 digits repeated on a date. It's very rare. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So, and 6 is mastery. So 02/22/2022. 6 twos. That's the last time in our lifetimes we're ever going to see that kind of date indicating that kind of energy opportunity portal hitting us. What that means for the masses is that, and we see this playing out with Russia invading Ukraine and all kinds of things, there are so many things that are upheaving unconsciously and subconsciously for the masses who don't or won't awaken spiritually, or can't, or aren't meant to at this time, whatever. And their karma, they're still being affected. We're all still being affected by the energies in one way or another. It's how we positively, as way showers, light workers, whatever you want to call us, are allowing and helping and holding for the planet and helping others access their own light as practitioners or teachers, etc. And so this is where we're at. And I just wanted to read all that because it bears repeating that this is a very powerful day, a really important time. And so, you know, we often take these things for granted, especially if we're not aware. So here we are. So again, this video, like all these videos that I do about the energies of creation, because they're everybody's divine birthright, is a service to all. I've been doing it for years. And it's free. So, you know, please feel free to share to anyone who you feel may be interested or may like it or may resonate with it. There's more coming. March will be a transitional month. And on 4/02/2022, I'm hoping to post a video about the I Am Presence. So I did all the sacred symbols, the Prema Agni, the Prema Dharma Dhatu, the Violet Flame. Now I'm doing the Mahatma. And I'm going to do the I Am Presence. And eventually I'll do in this, the 12 rays, the higher rays. And I have tons of videos, those of you who follow me on YouTube already, that you can see and peruse and absorb and experience at your own pace whenever you want. So 4/02/2022 will be the I Am Presence video. And 4/22/2022, I'll do the energies of creation video, putting it all together, demystifying the ascension process, bringing everything together. So for those of you who, you know, want to understand a little bit more about the full bigger picture, but we'll go a little bit about that today, into today. And the 4/2/2022, 2 is a subdivision of 4. These are partial or hidden stargates, what's called. They're still very powerful. They're just more subtle, where 2/22/2022 is in your face. So the energies are still happening. The ascension process is still an ever unfolding. It's just there's certain peak points, and this is one of them that's really, really peak and powerful. So congratulations to those of you who are taking part today or whenever you are, because I'm hoping and praying, and I'm sure you will get a lot out of this. So the point is there's lots of tools at your disposal. And if you want a session privately to become initiated to become a practitioner yourself in the Mahatma Fusion Therapy, you can contact me in the email listed below in the description box in YouTube, of course. But you can just do it on your own and invoke daily and allow the process to unfold within you as it will. So, when we talk about the Mahatma energy, we are talking about basically the return of the divine feminine. The Ascension energy is heating up along with the 5 higher divine rays. And only recently in the 1980s, which we'll get into in a little bit, did the 5 higher divine rays come in as a grace, a divine dispensation from source to help us accentuate our ascension process. We've always had the 7 primary divine rays creating everything and anything around us that we see in the physical universe, including ourselves, coming from pure source itself. But the 5 higher divine rays came in, 8th, which is soul purification, the 9th, which is Christ consciousness, the 10th, which is the anchoring of the light body, the 11th, which is the bridge to the golden age and the energy to attain that physically, and then the 12th ray, which is the gold ray, golden age of light, the fully personified ascended state. And those have been coming in and are working in some level in some way as they can and will within each of us and everything around us. So again, it's a boost that the universe gave us. Also, the Mahatma came in, which is what we're focusing on here today. The Mahatma originally came through in Atlantean times, which is a great vast pool of divine energy with which a vast number of ascended beings and people, I don't want to say people, beings above us, gave to us to connect with more readily to source but because the universe, the planet was so dense at the time, the energy on the planet was so dense at the time, it was misaligned and it was misused, and then we had the fall of Atlantis, etc. So now in the 80s, the source heard our collective cry for help again, which is largely unconscious, and it started to bring back and anchor the Mahatma, which we'll get into, of course, as we go along this afternoon. And the Mahatma is, again, that great vast pool of source energy that's like an extra boost, an extra dose of sunlight, if you will, to help us warm and heat up, and that we connect to, where before we didn't have access to as much consciously. So we're still in the stages of anchoring and learning to utilize the energies in a conscious, direct way. And it's just about a good habit and getting used to connecting with them consciously as a habit, as a good habit, where before we close down and shut off the dark ages, the dense energies on the planets, the lower vibrational war, rape, pillage, kill, sleep, screw, betray that we lived all these lifetimes that we still have memories of, that we're healing and breaking through to ascend. Now in this one lifetime, in this one recent time period, the divine has really given us a real big push. It's sort of like, the first time a bird parent pushes the chick out of the nest, is it going to fall or is it going to fly? Or is it going to end up, dead on the ground? And so it's pushing us. It really, the time is of the essence. Really the time is now. There's no working more towards or reaching more towards. There's no more need for ritual, fire and drums and smoke. We're here. We just have to awaken consciously with intention and align with it. And that's what these events are about. And that's why I do them. So again, the Mahatma initially began anchoring in the late 1980s, largely brought through the efforts of the Brian Grattan channel. But it's still anchoring, aligning. It takes all of us. The more conscious, the more progress we make. The more the way showers first, the rest will follow. So the more of us that focus, and indeed in the beginning, there was 81,000 of them that held the Mahatma to start to anchor for the whole planet. So it was a lot on them, but that was their karma. So if you really want to really delve into it more esoterically and deeply, this is the book, I call it the Ascension Bible, Mahatma 1 and 2, The I Am Presence by Brian Grattan. And it's very hard to get now. You might be able to get a copy or two on Amazon, or maybe a spiritual bookseller has it. I'm not sure if Hay House has it, but you can check. But if you really want to explore more deeply, it's very dense to read, but it's very powerful, and that I suggest you get. But I'm going to excerpt from it today to help to focus on what's important. So just to be aware, if you're not, and those of you who've worked with me and followed me in the past, anyone can do, this is my mantra, anyone can invoke the energies of creation. It's your divine birthright. The problem is you didn't believe it because the priest of old told you you were just a slave, you were supposed to listen to them and idolize the gods and all this stuff. And we have those memories in us and yada, yada, on and on and on. The days of the sheeple are over. You're either going to be a sheeple or you're going to be a woke individual. And this is why, certain elements of society hate wokeness, because they don't want to awake and they don't want to, find a new, more progressive, better way of dealing with things, because it means they have to deal and handle with themselves. And we see this played out in all our reality. For instance, the critical race theory, that people don't want to have that taught in schools and eliminated as if it never happened, instead of facing it and dealing with it and then moving forward from it. That's just one example. But religious, political, cultural, even in our own families and societal roles and roles of male and female and family roles, everything's shifting and changing. And so the truth is, everything's the transgendered communities, the pronouns of calling people what they want to be and feel they are, identify as, etc. All these things are unfolding in all different ways and levels, because people at some level, or wherever they're at, are trying to find themselves, trying to reach and connect. Not everybody realizes that they already are there. And it takes sometimes a journey for them to realize that they already are perfect and they already are there. And the form is irrelevant. And so, but people always attach to their form, whatever it is. And so that's the role of the spiritualista, if you will, is to not attach to any form and to just be love, be still and know you are God, right? Of course, a tall order to do 24/7, and very few people are able to do that, but you can do it more so than less, right? So again, linked below is the introduction to the divine, how to invoke the divine energies, 25-minute video, which I did way back. I think it was in 2012 or 2010. And it will go into more detail what we're going to experience today about how to invoke the energy simply and easily and why, etc., and how that impacts you. So you may want to also, invoke that too. And, as always, you hear, as I say, like and subscribe my channel, Ascension Light Source. Hit the little bell notification button, like the video. And it helps me, it helps you. You get notification when the videos are there. And it just spreads it around. And of course, anybody that you come in contact with that wants to watch it, send it to your friends, send it to your video, say this, this guy is doing this thing, you may want to check it out. It's all free. So, I can't reach everybody directly, so I'm counting on you guys, if you know people, to help spread the good news. Again, it's not about me in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a messenger, and you will be too, and this is everybody's, as I say, divine birthright to invoke and embrace the energy of creation. You just haven't done it for so long and closed down for so long that now in this one lifetime, you're being shocked into it, awakened. And so at first it's an adjustment. It's like, oh my God, it's like anything else. Be careful what you ask for, you're going to get it. On some level, we all ask for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me. So you're offered by the universe now a full panoply of application to align with divinity consciously with intention, which is, the actual ascension process unfolding within you, is the actual doing of it. Whether it's daily invocation, which is what I teach these videos, and it's very important and keep impressing upon people to practice and get into the habit of. monthly or so deep meditations that you can do to develop yourself so that when you do it on your own for a few minutes daily, it's that much more powerful. And indeed, listed below, Embracing the Mahatma Energy is a video that's been around for a long time. It's still very powerful and relevant. And you can listen to that once a month or so. It's not designed for daily listening. And it will help you open up more access when you're not doing this with me or a private session, etc. On your own, when you want a little more oomph, a little more infusion of Mahatma, more connection at a deeper level, cellularly, so that when you go to do it on your own consciously, daily, every day, it's that much more powerful, even though you're only doing it for a minute or so. And then there's private sessions, which you can, help you access stronger, which you can always, contact me or another practitioner about. You can also become initiated as a practitioner to be able to help others do it as well. And you eventually, of course, you can initiate as a teacher to and be part of the lineage to initiate other practitioners. So it's like anything else, or, it will happen anyway on its own, some way naturally to you if you're ready, but it will be largely unconscious and in and out of your awareness. By consciously invoking every day, you build up the light quotient, the stamina, and the awareness to be consciously aware until it actually affects your everyday reality, which is what you want in a positive manner, both in spiritual protection and manifestation, etc., without a lot of ritual and hoopla, without a lot of, money spent, without a lot of whatever. Just your own steam, your own source-to-source connection. And that's why, as I always say, intention is the key to ascension. Intention is the key to ascension, because the energies are coming down anyway. Things are anchoring anyway. It's happening anyway. It's as you either align with it and fully connect with your conscious intention, or you keep booking it back in a way, and maybe the planet maybe you're taken off the planet for now, or maybe you die young, or maybe you something happens to you, God forbid, out of your own subconscious, inability or recalcitrance to accept the new reality, which is unfolding, whether we like it or not. It's like anything else. What you put into practice, what you put into it, you'll get out of it. So this is what the new healing modality is giving you right now, from source to source, to uplift and enlighten you. And then we have these monthly events, which you're doing now or so, whether with me or other people that you may trust or have followed, and to help you sort of like, I call them spiritual gyms. When you go to physical gym, as I always say, you work out, and then if you stop, your muscles atrophy. You have to keep going, right? Because we're in a body, not of a body. But if you go to these spiritual gyms, whether it's here or anywhere else that's of integrity and light holding, that you resonate with, it's going to help you in some way, in a light quotient way, and you never lose that. You never lose spiritual gym work, quote unquote. So it's something to be aware of. That's why there's a value of not just going to one. If I do the Embracing the Mahatma event twice a year for the rest of your life, you'll get something out of each one. They'll all be different. You'll get something out of each one you go to, and you get deeper involved in it, and it helps you more and more. So it always is perfect. The audience is always perfect. The message is always there. Whatever needs to come through comes through. We're just getting out of the way. We're not the doer. I'm not the doer. I'm fully aware of that, and just allow it to unfold and, resonate within you as it will. It can only help, right? And so with all of this out there, all of this information, and forget the information part, all this experiential focus of how you can apply it easily and effortlessly, because that's the focus of my work, is to help people easily and effortlessly access physically and directly the energies of creation, which is their divine birthright, and to get them into that habit and practice, which most of us are not used to. But when you do, you start to see a real marked difference in your life. It doesn't mean everything's perfect every minute. It's more of a spiritual level, but it does affect you physically. It makes you healthier, makes you work through things easier, makes you make better choices. It makes you live healthier longer. It does all those things because you rejuvenate on every level. So it can't help but do it. Of course, you still have your karma to work through, but you get my point. Again, we're just getting started, humanity that is, in the midst of all this chaotic resistance, which will eventually dissipate, whether it's religious, political, cultural, things that affect us daily, the inflation, all these things, everything's a mirror of everything else. Everything's as above, so below in the physical and spiritual. So the more of us that awaken, the more of us that hold light, the better it is for everybody else. And the better it is for the outcomes. But we're still in the midst. It's like we're on a roller coaster ride and we're still going. It hasn't stopped. So we still have to keep holding the light, right? Again, the energies of creation are for everyone and all the time for everyone. And invoking them and utilizing them is the very definition of God helps those who help themselves. So, although the energies are anchoring more and more, the more we need to align and help the world with them if we are aware and if we are awake. Otherwise, I don't want to say, avoiding our spiritual responsibility, but in some way we are. It's like a procrastination. If you have a spiritual teacher like mine, or you go to Amma or whatever, it's all fun and light when you're there and laughing and joking. But as soon as you leave and go back home, the energy hits you in a certain way and it makes you do something for the betterment of mankind. And you're going to have to do it eventually. So if you incorporate this process that I'm going to show you easily and effortlessly every day, that just happens automatically. And it's not strainful. It's not stressful. It's not something you have to reach for. It's something you already are. You just have to connect with. It's very important to get that. And again, because of the way we are ascending, the sky's the limit. So, many of you know we've ascended before as humanity 3 or 4 times. That's why races have disappeared, left behind traces. They've ascended and left their body because they couldn't, and they were reaching for it, especially Egyptians. We see literally reaching for ascension, etc. The hieroglyphs and all that stuff, the Mayans, etc., the Lemurians, whatever. And we ascended as humanity, but the Earth now is ascending with us. This whole quadrant of the galaxy is ascending. So it's a huge irradiation, where before it was just dense physicality mostly, with a little bit of irradiation or illumination. Now it's becoming the opposite. So that's why you see all these earth changes, this shedding, this releasing, this breaking through, this. And of course there's resistance and backlash. So it seems like, well, where's the good happening? But it is happening because it's awakening more and more people, whether they like it or not. And more people are holding light. And eventually it will shift over. As 51% of light beings hold light consistently 51% of the time, the other 49% will start to fold in, because that's how high the vibrational planet is now, with the advent from the 80s of the 5 higher divine rays hitting us, the Mahatma coming back into focus, et cetera, et cetera. The return of the divine feminine, the goddess energy. We heard that all through, the last 10, 15 years. It's all a manifestation of that. And I encourage you to see all this as an adventure, not a burden, because it's a lot of fun. If you're any kind of spiritual person, a lot of this is fun. It's not fun when you're going through your lessons and you're dealing with, your own karmic crap and releasing it, of course. But even that, if you're evolved enough and you connect enough, can help you through that easier than it would be. It's still fun. It's still like a kid in a spiritual candy store. It's like, I want that, I want that, I want that, because now you can have it. Whereas lifetimes before, you couldn't access it that easily. You might have prayed for it. You might have wanted it. You might have tried. Alchemists turn lead into gold, and, shamans beating drums and smoking ayahuasca for hours trying to reach dimensions and whatever it is. We don't have to do that anymore. All that ritual was all based on ego and fear, however well-meaning it may have been. Now, all you have to say is, I am presence, please be present. I should be out of a job. All light workers we shouldn't need them. But because people are still not believing fully 100% that they are worthy and have the capacity, no matter who they are, whether it's a janitor, a nurse, a teacher, a crossing guard, a CEO, a president, that they ever stand there and say before the universe, I am presence, please be present, and allow it to flow through them fully all the time until they get that. People like me are needed. This situations like this are needed. And, when everybody or enough people are awake and we can move forward and forward, and that is the coming of the golden age of light. And the 11th ray and the 12th ray and then 10th ray will take more effect and become in more and more and bring us to the next level. And it's just actuating now. And we're like, oh, careful what you ask for. Oh shit, this is real. It's actually happening. And it is. We're seeing that with the awareness of more UFO energies and more incontrovertible, almost proof that there's something out there. Of course, there's dark elements trying to debunk it and twist it this way and that way. But we see it with our own eyes. It's there, It's not a drone. It's not a weather balloon. Something is going on. And so the more we awake, the more they will come, because they're much more advanced and awake than we are and much more peace-oriented. And the best part is it's mostly just the way to do it, the way to actuate it more and easier is just very easy, consciously invoking and holding any aspect of divine energy you feel drawn to at that time, and allow it to anchor and radiate within you, which we're going to do today, which is called building a light quotient. Again, as I said, you never lose your light quotient. So you take in light, unless you consciously choose to be evil and cut it out or some weird way, you never lose that. And who does that? Most people try to curse, and people believe, oh, my mother-in-law cursed the relationship or this woman. No, it's you allowed darkness to creep in. And now as you build more and more light quotient, there's less likelihood of that to happen because you're more in light and you attract where you're at. You always attract where you're at, right? In anything, and everything's a mirror. So remember that. It's good to remember that. So we want to get light upon light, not dark upon dark, right? And it only takes a few minutes a day, part of your regular practice over time, and then as you go about your daily business. The grace is, again, we have progressed enough to be able to take responsibility for our own ascension, our own evolution, sometimes with help of a practitioner or people like me, etc. And if you want to sit and hold light consciously for an hour and you feel ready to do that and capable of doing that, have at it. More power to you. It's not a race to the finish line. You still have to go through your process. You still, it's like an aerobed mattress. You blow it up to its full. And then if you keep blowing it up, it just keeps letting out the excess air. It doesn't keep blowing it up. It can only go so far. And the excess, same thing with light. You can't force light to build. It's going to build as it will. That's why the regularity of practice of invoking daily as part of your routine for a few minutes a day over time and getting used to that habit is the ideal way, because that's something you can connect to, adopt that habit. We're humans. We don't change a habit to replace it with another. So it's a good way to work with your linear system of habit, human being habit forming creatures, to form a good habit. And over time, that'll take on a life of its own until it just goes beyond that, right? And again, the best way is to do it that way, is to maintain that regularity of practice. It's just like you comb your hair every day, you clip your nails, you brush your teeth, you take a shower. You don't just do it once a year. It's physical self-care. Not only you have to be presentable, but for your own health and groom, unless you don't take care of yourself. If you take basic care of yourself, you do these things daily, right? Or most of them daily. Same thing with your spiritual body. We're just not used to it. And also our physical body, what we think of our physical body, is shifting and changing as we become more multidimensional. So we're more aware of our aura. And we're going to go over later the parts of our body physically that actuate the ascension process. So you're aware of them as part of your body, even though it's not the actual physical flesh or the muscle or the bone. The energetic component is still part of your being, your body. It's all of you, And so the more you're aware of that, and you self-care that, the better everything works, the better everything flows. Just like the more you brush your teeth, your breath doesn't smell, your teeth don't rot, etc. It's the same thing, and the spiritual as in the physical. So invoking the Mahatma energy is integral to all of this happening. Yes, you can invoke all the energies. The violet flame, of course, divine rays, what you need. And I'll go into that later when we talk about how to invoke the energies, a simple formula to do that. And again, listed below is the intro video. I suggest you watch that too. So I thought what we do, since I threw some, powerful information at you on a powerful day that's powerfully saying, hey, wake up more. Let's do this, guys. Let's take some time to see where you're at, to just be and see where you're at. Okay. So, why don't we get comfortable? Adjust yourself physically. Either reclining or sitting with your spine straight. Also, if you have your earbuds in, adjust the volume so it doesn't overpower you. You can hear it clearly without strain, but it's not distracting you. If you're sitting, sit with your spine straight without rigidity. All right. And now we are going to experience something, not just sit in a classroom and hear and take in information. We're going to actually experience divine energy coming into us. So wherever you're at, take 3 deep life force breaths in through your nose and gently out through your mouth. And closing your eyes now. Hands resting easily at your sides. And if you experience any fidgeting or errant thoughts, just allow all to settle or be what it is. Don't try to push anything away or stop anything. Just allow your eyes to remain closed. Your breathing even. Just trust your own instrument now. No matter how we are ascending, there will always be earthly and bodily distractions to contend with. Best to shift consciousness as much as possible, to focus on receiving consciously more light and allowing it to anchor and resonate throughout your being. And so to that end, gently now bring your inner attention to the tip of your nostrils, becoming aware more deeply of the in and out of your breathing, the sound, the sensation of your nostrils flaring gently and relaxing with each inhalation and exhalation. Becoming more aware now of the ebb and flow of your breath into and out of your body. In this moment, in the now, here and present. And as you continue to inhale and exhale effortlessly now, your attention at your nostril area, open to the realization now that as you inhale, God exhales. And as you exhale, God inhales. As you inhale, God exhales. Source exhales. And as you exhale, Source inhales. You and Source are one. Your breath itself is the key to your ascension and the vehicle which allows you to stay in your body while receiving light. It is the first action that you take upon birth, and it is the last action you do before transitioning out of your body upon physical death. And your breathing informs and colors your every waking and sleeping moment in between. And so now your inner attention shifts to the crown chakra area atop your head and the back of your neck as well. You may feel a bit of discomfort at first here, or a tingly sensation, perhaps a heating up somewhat. Perfectly natural. And as you continue to breathe deeply and evenly, allow your palms to come together in front of you at the level of your heart, just out in front of you without pinching or reaching. And your palms upturned now form a cup, as if you are standing in the rain or snow, collecting water or ice particles. Yet here now, we intend the sacred grace of the Mahatma Energy to gather with us. And you may sense or see the pure white light of the Mahatma tinged with the lightest of purple, violet, lilac at its edges irradiate now in your aura and being, and pooling in your upturned palms now, swelling and indeed nurturing you on the deepest levels of your being. And filling up now, please take your palms and turning them palm side now, place them down gently on your knees, on the tops of your thighs, without straining to reach. Wherever they land, your palm touching your knee or your thigh is perfectly fine. As we intention and allow the Mahatma to fully anchor into our being and through the bottom of our auric structure, igniting now our Earth Star Chakra, located 3 feet beneath us at the aura's edge, to ignite and awaken, stimulating and accelerating your ascension process in real time, in your body, in the now, in this dimension and time-space continuum. Simply allow to unfold what will. You are divinely protected in this space.
is yours to miss. No other road, no other way, no day but today, 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 no day but today.
And so just stay eyes closed for a moment, resonating with this most divine dispensation, which is evermore eternally at your disposal now to call upon and integrate. And when you are ready, remove your palms from your knees and slowly open your eyes. Okay. So, with these events, there's a lot of information given and sometimes repeated because sometimes it's good to hear it again and refresh and we forget, or, sometimes it takes a while to really, stick in our craw. But it's also good to have that collective and communal experience, also our individual experience. And the great thing about doing these Zoom workshops, the pro is, the con is it's not this, for me, it's not the same as having, a full group in the physical and having everybody there. It's so wonderful, and having snacks on the break and, really being able to directly feel together in the same room, all that energy, etc. But going out afterwards and talking about how amazing it was or whatever, hopefully. But, doing it this way through the Zoom, which is the new normal, I guess, for a while anyway, it really hits home that God is everywhere and we're all one, we're all connected. And we could have the same experience, maybe in a slightly different perception, but it's also because the universe is honing in and taking a little bit of the social element out of it, and bringing more of the, okay, guys, time to get your I's dotted and T's crossed, all your ducks in a row, let's go. But we're all together in this and we're all here. And the convenience of being in your own space, of course, is wonderful. Not having to rent a space, you're not having to travel in the snow. I can't tell you how many, major powerful workshops that I've been graced to facilitate in the middle of a blizzard, freaking out that nobody was going to come after spending all this money on food and healing center. And then thank God people showed up because they were meant to be there. So who's ever meant to be there in whatever form is going to happen. And so whether it's in somebody's home, a healing center, or, all together in this format, it's all good, right? Okay. So what is the Mahatma? The bigger picture, we have to remember that not only we, but our planet this time and indeed the physical universe is always ascending, morphing, etc. But our quadrant of the universe is ascending as well as our physical planet. And, our planet is often called the garden of the cosmos, especially here because of the Earth school. It's where we get to feel, right? We're not in light, just light. Indeed, the human being has been referred to as the measuring stick of the universe. You saw that thing, the Leonardo da Vinci man, where he, sticks the 1 foot out, and, everything can be experienced through the vehicle of our being, which is why I encourage you to see the Prema Dharma Dhatu video. And in that video, there's a link to the Prema Agni video if you haven't seen it, to incorporate it, doing the daily symbols to connect with that experience as well. It's another simple, easy tool you have. See, I want to stress again that we're used to lifetimes of having to pray for hours and kneel on stones and whip ourselves, flagellate us into, getting the divine to accept us because we believe that. None of that is real. None of that is present, especially now in this day and age, even though some of us may still be working through those karmic things. And so really, it's just a matter of, oh my God, it really is that simple. I am present, please be present. It's really just there. I just have to get out of my way and allow it to happen. Yes, but believing that and actuating that, getting the habit of allowing that as opposed to pushing it away and not believing it and not allowing it is where your work is, which is why these events exist, why the modalities exist, why we still, have helped people to awaken and more that do. And that's just the beginning. That's not even like the end result. There's no really end result. Ascension process is always unfolding. Jesus is still ascending. The masters are still ascending. There's levels, we can't even comprehend, but we're here now, as the song says, there's only now, there's only here. Give in to love or live in fear. And really that's what it's about, right? Also keep in mind, evolution is all ups and downs. It's all incremental. And we are in the beginning stages of a big push or big increment, if you will, for humanity. And that's why I spent some time to point out the 2/2/2022 and all that entails, and the numerological indication of that, the palodrome, the ammogram, the dates. It's a really powerful time. It's showing us, it's time, right? This is a big push as opposed to a little push. So even though things are chaotic, whilst all this is unfolding, we now have more conscious access to these arenas of divine energy directly to act as our spiritual lifeline, right? Through the maelstrom or uncertain change that we're going through. And I always like to use the example of the eye of the hurricane, right? Again, everything in the physical is a mirror of everything in the spiritual, right? So you have a hurricane, right? And hurricane comes in and creates all this chaos and picks up and destroys everything around it. Like in the movies, you see the cow mooing, going up in the air, the truck, the logs, the house, everything going around and around and around. And in the center of the hurricane is called the eye of the hurricane, completely calm. No matter where the hurricane's going, how it's moving, there's always that eye in the hurricane in the middle, which is completely calm. And as long as you don't go forward into the maelstrom again or back into the maelstrom on the side, you can stay in that calm, right? And then indeed, when the hurricane passes, it goes crazy. Then there's the moments of calm, and then it goes back to the crazy again until it passes. And in the spiritual, it's the same thing. It represents our own reality, our own aura. So when we connect, and when you see the eye of the hurricane, if you look up, you could see clear sky, bright light, sunlight, divinity, just like you would divinity. So when you're in the eye of the hurricane and there's drama swirling all around you, work, family, relationships, your own bullshit, past karma, Putin, Trump, all these things, cultural, religious, insurrection on January 6th, world wars, famines, COVID, all this stuff going around you, you either get drawn and caught up in that. God knows I myself have been in Facebook jail many times fighting with Trump supporters or whatever until I learned my lesson, until I got myself back to center and said, what's the point? They're never going to get it. And a lot of it's robots and manipulated anyway. It's not even real people. So the dark is still at work trying to tear everything down. The ego is trying to tear everything down. The chaos is still there. And especially we're in that space of the 6th divine ray leaving and the 7th divine ray, which indicates bringing the new age coming in. And we're in the midst of that 200-300 year transition period. One ray leaves after a period of 2,000 years in terms of its influence. They're always all there. Just one comes in for a couple thousand years, influences Trevelly and recedes, and the other one does its job. And the 7th is coming in. So we're directly in the midst of that impact. And so it behooves us to stay in the eye of the hurricane calmly as much as possible. And the more we evolve and the more we utilize the energies of creation, the light from above, to stay in that space, the Mahatma, the violet flame, the rays, etc., to actually access that energy, and our aura becomes more of that and less of the around us, and we break free from that and become more of the light. And the more and more people do that, the more the hurricane will dissipate, dissolve, go away, or be less effective instead of the other way around. And so that's sort of like what we're doing, right? We're working towards. It's like Satya Sai Baba used to say, and I bring this sample up a lot, of equanimity, to always be equanimity. Whether your child dies or you win $1 billion, your reaction should be the same, neutral. Now, of course, that's a tall order, and most people won't do that. But he was just pointing out the example of, maintaining that neutrality, that connection, that source. And it feels good. It's not like it's something bad. It's joy. It's divinity. It's feeling of upliftment, as opposed to not. But of course, we believe we don't deserve that, a lot of us, or we're not worthy, or we've done so many bad things in the past, or whatever it is, or we're focused so much on trying to fix someone or fix a situation, which only makes it worse, law of attraction. So we're constantly in the maelstrom of an eye of the hurricane, going back, going forward, trying to come out. Sometimes people help us back in the center. Sometimes we just get enough and we just stay in the center and force ourselves, or help of a spiritual teacher, or like this. But when you take responsibility for your own ascension process daily, little by little, more and more, as you're working through all this, over time, naturally, your own linear system gives up. The ego gives in more and more. You trick the ego in a natural way by just, instead of fighting it or resisting it, just allowing it to be what it is and just calling it more and more light until it gets the message to dissolve and you want light. And it's really just that simple. And we're just really, even spiritual people in the spiritual world are still in the midst of that. So you can imagine the average person who's not awakened or not on a spiritual path, what they're going through. So again, it behooves you as a light worker, if you're watching this or something similar to this, or a teacher that preaches stuff like that, to just, take up arms. And it couldn't be easier. That's my thing. It's like, sometimes I feel like the guy in the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They're coming, and no one's listening. I'm like, my God, this is so easy. Dudes, just call on the Mahatma, invoke the violet flame at night. I'm telling you, it's going to work. And it's like, sometimes it's like, like talking to a wall, but you're only responsible for yourself. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. And so that's why I keep doing these events. It's not just a one-time thing, and then that's it. So they're real, so as we can see from the Stargate dates, the energies have been building, progressively heating up from century to century, decade to decade, year to year, even now month to month, as we see, as I explained with the 2/22/2022. Then we have the hidden Stargates in 4/20/2022, and then 6/20, and then 8/20/22. So, there's still, but this time now is the peak time of this year. It's the turning point. And it's interesting enough, we're starting to see a decline in the COVID rates of death and infection. We're starting to see in the civilized world anyway, I would say the modern world, I should say. And we're starting to see more of an acceptance of dealing with it as an endemic instead of a pandemic. Like, that's another manifestation of things are changing, they're shifting, and it's just the way it is. So there really is no turning back. And I think COVID taught us that the new normal, you always hear about the new normal, It's up to each of us, like anything else. The more you put into it, the more you will get out of it. Intention and simple application to hold light is now incumbent upon those of us who are awake to not just float by, to hold light and to actually rise up and to actually ascend. So what is the bigger picture of energy that we're talking about as far as we can see? So what I do is I have a diagram to show you. I'm going to get up for a moment. And this is what I used to use when I taught the Energy of Creation workshop physically. I'm going to see if I can show you here. And this is sort of let's see if I can get this to work now. This is sort of a diagram of energy, sort of like indicating what source energy is. So you see this sort of sun-like thing with the rays shooting out, sun-like energy above all, overarching. And I have written there, undifferentiated source. So that's source. That's the great mystery. What's there and beyond there, we don't know yet. We can feel it, ascend to it, sense it, but we don't know the biggest mystery. The biggest mystery we can start to be aware of is God separated himself from himself to love himself more, to know himself more. And that started with the divine rays. And you see those colored rays shooting out. Those are the 7 rays, 7th ray being here, and the 5 higher rays, showing you how undifferentiated source starts to indeed differentiate throughout the dimensions and create everything and anything you see and feel around you, including the physical universes and your own self, your own being. And then you have the flames on the bottom, and that is the violet flame undergirding everything and continually burning off karma, heating things up as the divine plan is ushering forth and moving forward. The violet flame constantly transmutes any karma from that and heats up us to the highest level, or attempts to, as possible. So you have all these energies working for you. And then you see that sort of midstream energy, those squiggles in the middle. That is the Mahatma, which came in with the 5 divine higher rays and the Mahatma to accelerate and accentuate and help the planet as well as us ascend. Gaia, turn of the divine feminine, that softening of all of the harshness that we've experienced for lifetimes and millennia, to ascend. And then you see the circle in the middle, and that is Earth. And the blue dot in the middle of that is you. You are here, And so it's showing that you are the center of the universe, just like anyone else is. We're all pebbles on the beach. We're all connected. It's all one. It's all affecting us and hitting us. We can indicate it astrologically, numerologically, but at the end of the day, energy is energy. Light is light. Love is love. It's effulgent. Undifferentiated source cannot be quantified. It's effulgent. It's divine. It's beyond our comprehension. But with the grace of the Mahatma coming in, the Mahatma is the clearest light of God that we can experience as human beings, other than the clear light of God itself. So we have that divine dispensation that's steadily been anchoring since the 1980s, to help us access that space, which we never had before. It was tried in Atlantean times, got distorted, twisted, was removed, was rescinded, actually, retreated. And now it's come back and it's here. And so, yes, it's anchored, but the more you align with it, the more you help it anchor more fully, the more people benefit, the more you benefit, the more conscious and direct and accelerated your ascension process is. And so that's just a diagram I wanted to show it's kind of rudimentary, but it's fun. And I used to use that to demonstrate how the energies affect us. And this is, this us in our quadrant of the universe, but it affects everyone. It affects alien beings. They have a different karma. They have a different evolution, but there's still beings that are affected by the energies just as well. They don't recognize religion. Obviously, they have their own thing. But again, all that energy is hitting us. It's all there. But you saw with the roundness of the planet, the thick crust around the planet, that's mirroring our ego, separating us from or willing to pushing away and separating of source energy so we can operate on a lower vibrational experiences, which we did for lifetimes, sleeping, screwing, eating, drinking to excess, killing, betraying, all that stuff. And we're healing and healing it now. So as we heal and grow and evolve from that, that crust, if you will, softens. It shakes loose and it opens up and allows and our aura is a manifestation of that. It's our earth around us, our own being. We're our own center of our own earth, of the earth itself. And then what happens is, and these things happen unconsciously, but it's just to show you the opening up, the interdimensionality of everything and the connectedness of everything and the awareness of it. It just feels odd at first because we're not used to it. It feels woo-woo. You hear, spiritual stuff is woo-woo. But that's because people aren't awake to be aware, to hold that awareness. So they consider it weird or, it's not tangible, it's not physical. But it's there. You feel it. People feel things, and that's what it is. It's the energy, right? So as we soften and as we intend to allow and connect that crust of our aura, the crust of the earth itself, everything transforms and softens, and then the energies that are naturally there waiting for our intention to come in more fully, and irradiate us and elevate us and ascend us more fully, and then the next step happens. So we're right in the midst of that, and we throughout the rest of our life, we're going to be doing that, The other example I use is the Moses effect, where you remember Moses led the Israelites to the promised land, and just when he went through all this stuff and got all this information and downloading and 10 commandments, etc., and he got just to the mountain, and you saw Charlton Heston, the movie, whoever it was, and just before they reached the promised land, God took him. So the lesson of that is that we are in the same boat. It's an ongoing, evolving process. It's not an end destination, right? Especially in physical form, because we're always going to be living, dying, reincarnating until such time as this no longer necessary, right? Whatever that entails. But even if we live longer, even those who used to live 900,000 years, whatever, they still transitioned. Even aliens that live 10,000 years transitioned, right? The Elohim, the Nephilim, whatever, Anunnaki, whatever you want to say. And so the Moses effect is that we're going to, in this lifetime, never reach the golden age of light directly yet. We'll come back and reincarnate and experience it more fully another time. But we get to directly experience, as he did, the burning bush, the 10 commandments, the coming in of the energy where the other people aren't, to give them the message, to help them work it through. There's always going to be, the errant guy that tries to get us to still worship the golden calf. There's always going to be that energy, but God, Source will strike that down, and the majority will come through, get the manna from heaven, and we will continue to evolve. And so just because, there's no end result, the reward is the thing itself. The energy directly experiencing itself in the now, which most of the people who are not awake aren't experiencing. And you'll see the more you do it, the more better you feel, the more you'll react better to things, the more your life will take on better meaning, even as you're going through crap. So that's the trick. And then when you pass, your passing will even be easier. Your next journey through the bardo will be easier. Your next incarnation will be easier and more fulfilling, as opposed to not going through that process now. So no matter what you do, you're only benefiting yourself. It's just a matter of degree of how you want to take that or where you're guided to take that. But it's all good, and it's all unfolding, and it's all part of the process. Okay, so the last pivotal marker before this time now, and before 2012, was in the late 1980s, as we've talked about, which we call the Harmonic Convergence. When we began to align our planet began to align with the galactic center, which is almost pure light, by the way, for a 25-year period leading up until 2012, indicating a heating up of the planet's ascension process. And at the same time, again, the seventh divine ray continued to anchor more and more, allowing the space for the Mahatma and the 5 divine rays to manifest, which I want to stress again, as at its essence is a gift. Yes, it stimulated a backlash of resistance, which continues to this day, but it brought forth an unprecedented access to divine energy directly. And that's why we're here today. So I wanted to go over a little more of that, because we are talking concentratedly about the Mahatma, and this is from the Bible itself. Yes, this is my copy, which I keep, like a Bible, sacred, and this is the dog-eared copy from years of, classes and workshops and going through it and using it even in 2 pieces. So I'll start by reading some sections from the actual word itself that was channeled through Brian Grattan about the Mahatma when this book was published in the late 80s. For the initiate, meaning us, it is important to understand that it is the conscious use, absorption, and integration of energy that distinguishes him from the unconscious masses. Through the I Am Presence Mahatma Energy, he will be able to connect with the magnificent light that will focus not only his path, but the significance of all that is being slowly revealed on the earth plane, allowing him to see the total picture for the first time. It's basically, what I just said in a lot better way. There has never been a time on earth when so much creative opportunity has been available to elevate mankind for the first time ever into spiritualizing all matter on this planet Earth and in this quadrant of the galaxy. Planet Earth opened to a new level, which we reference as the 4th dimension, at the time of the Harmonic Convergence on August 15th, 16th, 1987. At this juncture, your planetary government was a council of 7 departments, each department representing and transforming one of the 7 cosmic rays that maintained and overshadowed third-dimensional mankind and Earth through the transformational energies called Christ consciousness. The opportunity was given by the creator level to allow 5 new rays, completing the circuitry from source to Earth in the early 1970s, 5 higher divine rays. Your planetary logos, Sanat Kumara, who embodied this planet and all aboard her, steps down the 12 rays, acting as a transformer to your planetary government, who in turn were required to create 5 new departments to facilitate and transform to you, humanity, in all kingdoms of Earth, on Earth, all 12 rays, which in turn would allow this planet to become 4th dimensional. So again, it's showing how this actually is an actual experience that actually happened. Because in the beginning, when these things happen, and we're talking in the beginning, maybe from then to another 100 years from now, it seems chaotic because there's such resistance to it. We don't often see the value of it, but it's there if we look. The Mahatma is for those among you who are motivated to search for the answers that can respond to their spiritual body. In the past, mankind's choice of beliefs and religions have supported only the emotional body and the material side of life. And truly, if one is going to remain on Earth in a new dimension, very dramatic shifts of consciousness will be required in order to have mankind remain in this new 4th dimensional reality. For nothing is as it was. The choices are yours. And there is certainly no blame associated with your choices, for all have free will, an eternity to evolve multidimensionally and align with those greater wholenesses of self that you are. When mankind lifts the veil of their unworthiness and recognizes that they are the sons of God, that there is divine equality, and that no one is greater than another, you will have begun your journey in a way that it was intended. Most on the physical plane are mentally lethargic, particularly as it relates to your understanding of your human existence and your own evolution. So again, it behooves you. The more you do, the better and easier your life will become. But it's not, it's not a test. It's not a challenge. It's not something, oh my God, if I don't do it. It's just there for you to utilize. And then this is the Mahatma channeling directly to Brian Grattan. We, as the Mahatma Energy, have shown to many on planet Earth that introducing the Mahatma Energy to your cellular system causes the lighter cells and the heavy crystallized cells to respond immediately to the light in a very profound way, which I hope you experienced a little bit before when we actually called in together that collective connection to the Mahatma. Those who have touched into this Mahatma Energy have stated that their whole body became light in a way they claimed was beyond the human condition, indescribable. Again, this new spiritual body has never been a part of the earth before. It is not the astral body. It is not the etheric body. It is closer to the spiritual nomadic body, but without the finer vibrations and greater light of the senior monadic levels. So in other words, you're still in a body, but you're still ascending at the same time. You're not dying, you're living, and you're still experiencing that source as much as you can, but you're actually still, ascending to that. And then there's one more here I wanted to go over. This is important to understand. The ascension process will be experienced much differently than it was experienced in the past. It will be a very acute experience within the body. The process of actually taking the light energy, which has been slowed down to the point of almost stopping, and creating what you call matter and speeding it back up again. The amount of energizing that goes on in that experience is quite phenomenal. Words are inadequate here. When you take every cell of the body and even beyond the cellular structure and speed up the vibration of every atom within it to the point where it literally flies at a higher rate and transcends itself to the point where it is moving into the frequencies of light, then you can imagine the amount of energy that is felt, the sensation of light. Many people have over the ages worked with this energy and not got it right. Essentially, they have burnt holes in themselves. When we speak of mass ascension, we do not mean an experience where it is necessary for all who are going through the process to experience it simultaneously and in the same place. The process of ascension is one that will be more clearly understood as you have the energy more firmly anchored in your body, because then you will feel it beginning in the primary stages. You will feel the body being energized more and more and more. Some are already feeling that, and it is becoming stronger and stronger. Ultimately, the spiritual body will be materialized and dematerialized at will. And we still see people that are not there yet reaching for it through science, creating the Hadron Collider, and I think it's underneath Sweden, try to create the God particle, where you see the UFOs materialize and dematerialize with light and at the speed. All of these are mirrors to help us awaken and try to say that we should be doing it. We can be doing that too, but you can't force it. It's so this process that I'm going to show you that helps you, to do it little by little. Okay. So just do it in baby steps and build your light quotient as you can. And to that end, there's the intro video on Invoking the Energy Creation, as I said in the link below. I suggest you watch that. And I'm also going to show you how easily to do it no matter where you are, what level you're at. I'm going to do that now. First, I just wanted to make the disclaimer that you can do for any aspect of divine energy anytime. That's just the Mahatma. You can do the violet flame, the Mahatma, one of the divine rays, whatever. You can hold for as long or as little as you can or like to. But doing it regularly is the key. It's sort of like brushing your teeth, comb your hair, give yourself a Prema Agni every morning, call the Mahatma, 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 and then go out to work. It's the same thing. And over time, it will unfold naturally. Now, again, if you have the stamina and time, sit there for an hour and hold the Mahatma, great. by all means, have at it. Send it to the world, have at it. But don't force or push that either. It's better to be genuine and let it actually generate and actuate in your being and flow through you really what it's going to be, and let it build on its own naturally. That you're going to get a lot more out of, and so will everybody else. And again, if you get to the point where you just close your eyes and connect and go Mahatma, 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 it's there, great. Or just say Mahatma, or just close your eyes and it's there, great. But until that time, I'm going to show you now a way to a formula, a simple, easy formula that works with your linear apparatus of thinking to receive more. So again, the first thing is you don't want to fight for perfection. You don't want to reach for perfection. You don't want to fight. You don't want to try to resist it being, too much or too little. And our inner mind, our old way of thinking is ritual. I have to work so hard at something. I have to beat the drum for hours. I have to, take ayahuasca and go into altered trance states. I have to, pray for hours at a certain time at the moon. None of that is necessary anymore. But we still believe part of it is. So because we're still in a body, even though we're not of a body, because our ego is based in the mind and tries to tear everything down, it's best to invite the ego and the mind to help us and to do it simply. And then it will relax, and then light could just come in and it won't try to do something to disrupt or to break that down. How do you do that? Very easy. We know that 3 is the number of manifestation, abundance, or that 9 is the number of completion. So 3 times 3 equals 9, which is manifesting into abundance. So what you do is you have a simple formula that helps you adapt to the new reality coming in, the new normal, but not the negative connotation of the new normal, like, that you hear on the news, or with dealing with COVID or whatever it is, or people's behavior on planes, crazy behavior, or insurrection and all that. Not that. The positive connotation of the new normal, which is, awakened state from which you can't go back to unawakened. You have to deal with now moving forward a sort of a more open sense of things, right? So you want to say 3 times to yourself these 3 mini sentences. 3 times equals 9, and then that will allow your mind and your body to relax, to simply connect, and also activate as best as possible for that time, in that moment, whatever energy of creation you want to hold and connect with in a more conscious, powerful, direct way than if you didn't do it. So the first thing you're going to say is I am in your name, because you acknowledge I am. Anything you say after I am, it, as you know, in the spiritual world, is very powerful. It becomes the thing itself, right? So I am that I am. I am now calling forth whatever. So I am Anthony. So when I say I am Anthony, you just say aloud to yourself at home, wherever you are, your name, right? And when you're at home, you could say it louder to yourself. If your roommate's in the other room, you could do it quiet. If you're on a subway, you could do it quiet. If you're alone, you could do it aloud to yourself, loud, and no one's the wiser. So you're acknowledging who you are. You're standing in your own power. I am Anthony. You're acknowledging yourself. You're not closing off from that, right? And then you're going to say, I am that I am. That very powerful saying. You're acknowledging you are one with the universe and God, Source, and Source is one with you. I am that I am 3 times. I am that I am. Then you're going to say, I am now calling forth the Mahatma, Violet Flame, the third ray, whatever it is, 3 times. And then your mind, your spirit, your soul, your body, your heart, your energy, everything is connected to allow that with intention to actuate. And then you just hold it for as long as you like. And then there. So it's the regularity of connecting, right? And you can put your hand on your heart. When you're done, you could do in a prayer pose. You put your hands on your side. You can call the energy with your, cup it and receive it, and then turn it over and put it onto your knees to anchor deeper into your being. You can do any of that as long as it's kept simple and easiest as possible. Laying in bed, standing up, sitting down, alone with people or with people, just saying it aloud or quiet to yourself. I also wanted to read you a thing because the Mahatma, the word is the thing itself, right? It's very important to understand that when you're invoking, you're not just saying, I am, apple juice. I am, peanut butter. You're saying, I am Mahatma. I wanted to read something from the Mahatma Bible, of course, about that, because it's important. The word Mahatma is a mantra with which to invoke the energy of Source. Our use of Mahatma embodies much more than the soul or even oversoul levels, much more than humankind can yet conceive. When an individual says Mahatma, he is invoking the creative, integrative attribute of the Source and is announcing creation at his particular point of light, his life, his experience, etc., within this cosmic day. The vibratory action of the words I am or Mahatma releases the energy of creation, so that whatever quality follows that decree is instantly manifested in the pure etheric substance and ultimately in the spiritual microtron. It is the responsibility of each one to invoke the perfection into his own world, for the law of his being requires that each person use his own energy to utter the decree. You cannot give this responsibility to someone else to do for you. The Mahatma can synthesize your connections, but only you can implement the undertaking. Again, intention is the key to ascension. So that's another reason, besides connecting with your linear self to your spirit to manifest, why it's important, because it is the thing itself. So it's an actual experience when you do it. So I just wanted to stress that. Okay? So we are going to practice now. So again, you're going to sit or stand. Sit for now comfortably, evenly, eyes open or closed. For now, you say, you would say to yourself, I'm going to do it for you. And then you'll just understand, very simple. And you see how simple it is, but it's very powerful at the same time. Indeed, the more simple things are, the more powerful they are. I am Anthony. I am Anthony. I am Anthony. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. So I've acknowledged myself. I'm standing in my power. And now I'm connecting. I'm intentioning to connect with the energies of creation. I am now calling forth the Mahatma energy. I am now calling forth the Mahatma energy. I am now calling forth the Mahatma energy. Now at this point, you can just connect and allow it, or you can do it for a specific purpose if you want, if you still need to, like to help with my relationship with Jim or Sally, to help with my family trauma, to help me create more abundance, if you want. But in daily application, you just want to call it and allow it. The Mahatma knows what to do. Trust me. We need to feel like in control. We need to fix something. But you can work with it if you do it simple and then just let it go and let the Mahatma do what it will, right? So now we're going to actually do it and sustain it. And so that when you do it on your own, again, if you want to hold that for an hour, you can. If you want to hold it for 5 seconds, I would say 30 seconds to a minute minimum. Every day, you have a minute a day to connect with Divine Source energy throughout 23 hours and 59 minutes that you have left, That's what I'm saying. So it's the regularity of practice. So whatever you feel, whatever is good for you, So let's now get ready to experience on a deeper level more connection with the Mahatma. Get comfortable, however you need to. And gently close your eyes. Breathing deeply and evenly. And with your eyes closed, breathing deeply and evenly, gently place your hands over your heart, left over right. And now very gently tilt your head back slowly, exposing and opening up your third eye without neck strain, just a little bit, not a lot. Spine is straight without being rigid. Just a slight adjustment of your head tilted back with your hands over your heart. Just very gentle. And remembering now that as you inhale, undifferentiated source exhales. And as you exhale, undifferentiated source inhales. And as the Mahatma energy now once more begins to enfold you in its effulgent embrace, embrace it back. Allow it to lift from your aura and being all that no longer serves you. And so now, bringing your head back into alignment upon your shoulders and releasing your hands from your heart center, slowly and gently allow yourself to come back to the here and now. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So, I just wanted to have you guys experience that in a more stronger way in workshops so that when you go to do it on your own, remember, you do this a few minutes every day. Some days it may feel like nothing happened. Some days it may feel very good or powerful. Some days it may trigger something in you, and you're experiencing the energy for a few seconds or a few moments, or you say you do it for a half hour and then you go back to 3D and go to work and get on a subway and get aggravated. There's an adjustment. So your body is constantly adjusting to it more and more, levels more of light. And, there's an adjustment period needed, in other words. So be easy on yourself. As my teacher says, be gentle with the creator, which is you, That's why the regularity of practice over time is very important. Just again, like brushing your teeth, combing your hair, clipping your nails in the shower. You don't just do things once. You don't just evoke the Mahatma once or any divine energy. Just because it's anchoring steadily, the more we consciously align, the more and more fully take responsibility for accelerating our ascension process. As I read to you from Brian Grattan himself, channeled, the more it will work, and you have to do it yourself. This is something you need to do, and you can do. And so my message is just do it easy like that. Now, if you need help, and you're a person that needs help accessing it more, and you want to come for a private session of integrating Mahatma Energy infusion, which is like a spiritual therapy, irradiation of the Mahatma into you or a certain part of you, you can come to me for a session or one of my practitioners, of course. But if you do it you still need to do it on your own every day. You can listen to the Mahatma Energy video that's linked there every month, so that when you go to call it on your own, it's stronger. Again, it's a regular practice, and it only takes a few minutes each day, So again, just take it step by step. And so before we begin to finish here today, I wanted to go over where in the body the ascension process is actually happening. I went into this the last Prema Dharma Dhatu video in detail. So again, if you haven't seen it, please, if you get a chance, do so. I recently posted it, but it bears repeating here because these are becoming the new parts of our body that we're becoming more and more aware of. And they are basically the mouth of God, the high heart chakra, the ascension column, which runs parallel to the spinal column in the etheric, your aura, and the heart center itself. And so this is why we put our hands over our heart, tilt our head back, put our hands out, put it in those little movements assist with the anchoring. When you're in energy, those little movements actually activate, in a sense, like putting on a light switch or turning the key. It actually helps as long as you don't overdo it or strain. So the mouth of God is very important because it's energetically, it's the whole triangular area of the neck point to the top of the shoulders. It's one of those important parts of the body where energy comes in, and when it comes to being healthy, it's one of the most important parts of the body for many reasons, and where our psychic information first hits us. And that's why a lot of times we tense in the shoulders, because, throughout the day, subconsciously, we just want to get through our day and be in drama or get through work, come home and watch Netflix. We don't want to deal with anything that, the universe, but the ascension is still unfolding. It's still going to hit you with downloads. They may not be as strong as something you'll get today, but you're still bombarded all the time with intuition, which you either deny. And I gave you an exercise in the Prema Dharma Dhatu video physical, which we won't go into here, to help you access that space more easier in your physical body as well. So again, in the physical and spiritual, everything's mirrored, as above, so below. So technically, it's the first bone in your neck, otherwise known as the atlas. It's fundamental to many components of human activity: eating, drinking, speech, breath, even romance. It is communication, interaction, almost a door to the soul. As the mouth of a river, it assumes the meaning of a door or gate, which leads access to another realm of existence. It's where all psychic info enters you. And this is a quote from Matthew 4:4. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So stimulating that helps, again, keep us maximally conscious and awake as much as possible. And that's why I gave the Alexander Technique exercise in the other video. And that's also why, when you do the Prema Dharma Dhatu and the Prema Agni, you activate those and heal those within yourself daily. And also when you do it on somebody else, you help massage and heal those as well. And them as well, as much as they can for you in that moment. Again, it's an ongoing process, And then the high heart chakra. The high heart chakra is located between the throat and the heart chakra, right? And in theory, it correlates to the thymus gland in the physical. The high heart chakra is also called the seat of the soul, where the body prepares, evolves for the fifth dimensional reality of unconditional love. It's the ascension assemblage point. Access. Do you ever see those pictures or those memes of Jesus where he's standing there and the rays of light are shooting out of his chest? That's sort of an artistic rendering of the high heart chakra activated, a little above his chest. It's the place where intent is located. Intention, again, is the key to ascension. The thymus gland is active in youth and it atrophies as we age, which I'll explain to you because we close down so many lifetimes, our heart, that as we went through lifetime over lifetime and evolved, it was deemed unnecessary, or we actually closed it down mentally and culturally and generationally, et cetera, through all that patriarchal dark ages and all that it just never, it didn't. Now it's reawakening. Now the time where it's reawakening. So again, as our ascension is unfolding, our physical body is changing and restructuring, like that werewolf, in London, we're transforming, we're morphing, we're mutating. And so as you do the Prema Agni and Prema Dharma Dhatu and activate the symbols, you restructure it too. So I highly encourage you, if you haven't, to visit those videos and to do the Prema Agni every day. It takes a minute, But even if you don't, just the tapping, the tapping technique or just pushing your hands over your heart when in meditation, all that helps. It just helps you connect. It's sort of like what's happening to it is it's like a mushroom that's dehydrated. Then you put it in water and it rehydrates. Well, that's what's happening now with the ascension process. So you may feel a tingling or a swelling. And there's a reason why the thymus is important. Is because it awakens us. The thymus gland, located in the chest behind the breastbone, it plays a key role in immunity by producing immune cells in the actual physical body. Its primary function is maturing T cells, which are white blood cells responsible for fighting infections. It is just in front and out above of the heart. So as we evolve and we activate the symbols in the Prema Agni, or we call in the energy creation, all of this helps our body physically as well. And I wanted to read something about the thymus gland because it's important, directly from the Mahatma book. The heart and all these parts really are placed in a similar position because they're given a job through the inefficiency of the conscious mind that they were not capable of handling. So you have a heart, a valve, a pump, which is supposed to handle all of your emotional feelings, when in actual fact there is a very neglected organ called the thymus gland that is capable and only too happy to do the job. But it is atrophied and has been shut down from puberty. The basic energies which are brought through that heart chakra have not been able to be grounded into the physical by many people to a significant degree, simply because the physical heart is not capable of doing it, much as one tries. And the more one tries, the more stress one puts on the physical organ, and ultimately people die of a broken heart. The pump breaks down because it cannot do two jobs. It has been performing a double task and gets tired. The thymus gland has been created for the job in the first place, but got bypassed in some strange promotional process at puberty. Really was because, or as we evolved, evolution, we didn't evolve enough, so it just didn't evolve, The thymus gland is right in the center of the chest, and if you do what they call the thymus thump, which Tarzan seems to have perfected, it probably kept him very healthy, it says here. You can feel that organ beginning to vibrate. The thymus was shut down in puberty simply through the mechanism of a tremendous amount of false beliefs. And the major false belief that shut it down was the belief in death and old age. If one believes that one is going to grow old and die, then ultimately one will. The programming has been so solidly anchored that it has created a situation where the thymus gland, which is really the seat of the rejuvenating power in the physical body, has been so shut down that it can no longer secrete the hormones necessary, or on a higher level, transmute the energy from the heart chakra into the more subtle levels of programming to enable the system to maintain its immortality. All of you will have to master that in order to create the vehicle for ascension. You will have to rejuvenate your thymus gland. And that's what calling in the Mahata is all about. That's what activating the Prema Agni and the Prema Dharma Dhatu and the sacred symbols are about. That's what invoking the violet flame. That's what, placing your hands over your heart, meditation. All of that is about. And so again, you can't force it, but again, it can promote a longer, healthier life in the physical now if we do it enough, but you can't force it or try to push it. You know what I mean? Your karma is your karma unfolding, but it'll benefit you no matter what on every level. So don't worry about, getting the benefit from it, etc. So again, that's a very important area. And, the high heart chakra is awakening as all the chakras in our hands, our feet, below us, the earth star chakra, above us, 3 feet above it, the soul star chakra. All these points have been opened and awakened as the energies have been coming in. And that's why when you draw the symbol, you also activate those parts of you as well. The Prema Agni and the Prema Dharma Dhatu. And as soon as I get the go-ahead and permission, I'll be doing the Prema Pranahudi workshop event, which is to bring everything together in a simple, symbolic, easy-to-do form that really brings it all together. But again, these are all tools you have daily at your disposal. So again, my mantra is always do it, guys. Try it. Give yourself a month of really calling in the energies, and you'll see that yourself. You'll want to do it. You want to spend time doing it. And again, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. You can go about your life having, my teacher says, we're here for sex and cheesecake. You still have to live your life. But how much more elevated will it be? How much more impactful will it be? How much more richer and meaningful will it be? Connect it more with Source divinely informing you instead of pushing that away. And then you have the Ascension column. This is the central channel works a lot like a wire filament of an incandescent light bulb. The more prana energy, electricity you pour through this filament, the brighter your light shines. It's correlated to the spinal column in the physical, where all the nerve impulses, of course, are stimulated. So again, as above, so below. So it starts at the base of the skull, right after the atlas bone at the mouth of God, of course, all the way through down to the pelvis, and along as well the chakra column. So again, as you will see and experience, the Prema Agni and the new sacred symbols themselves, which we have at our disposal to draw and to connect with, mirror the healing and the activating of all of that, right? But even as you just call in the energies and you feel the energy come into you, it's healing and massaging and activating on some level and awakening that more and more. You just can't force it, right? If you come to a session, we can infuse it allow an intention to diffuse more strongly in a part of you that needs it more. Say you had a spinal injury or something like that, until it heals. But you still can do it on your own every day, and you should, right? You're spiritually massaging all of these centers. It's like spiritual self-care. So just to be aware of, it's an important part. Your ascension column is an important part. And then you have your aura, as we just said. This aura is opening and brightening and awakening, and your chakras in your hands and feet are opening. Soul star above you, the earth star below you, 3 feet out in front of you, all around you. That's all part of you. Science tells us that our skin, is the largest organ in our body, right? Because that is the extent, or has been in our awareness, of 3D and ego attachment, etc. But as we allow more light and explore dimensionality, our consciousness expands. We are becoming to realize that the aura is actually the biggest organ of our body, and all the healings and initiations and light you take in inform that of you. And all this happens through the connection into the heart center and the awakening of the high heart and all that, anyway. But it's all key as part of you, where we're closed down. They have that image of, being Italian, the old Italian ladies that they walk behind their husband and they're all hunched over because they had a life, and the husband's walking ahead of them, ignoring them. They had a lifetime of being oppressed and dominated and held back, so they're just walking like this. And I used to see that all the time when I was growing up, because that was still, the older generation of women that just gave up everything, gave up on themselves, give everything for the husband. And he's walking upright, walking normal, and they're like bent over with a cane because they closed down literally so much, all of this, for security, or what they felt was security. So, of course, thank God, the goddess energy comes in and awakens women all around the world, and no one's going to put up with that anymore, thank God. That's their aura. And then the heart itself, where everything happens. The heart center. So because, as we read before, the heart itself is overworking all the time, or we used to bypass the heart all the time when we want it to be bad, and exhibit bad behavior. We would close down and close off. That's how we were able to do all the horrible things we did in all those warrior lifetimes we've had and short-lived lifetimes we had that we've been healing this lifetime, right? As we're approaching ascension. So, but it's the heart itself, and still needs to be rejuvenated and revitalized. It's still our main conscious. When something happens, we go, we don't go on our shoulder, we go, because our heart is affected, right? And so as our high heart opens and awakens, the thymus gland acts and reacts with the heart, and the high heart awakens with the throat and the heart, and everything's aligned. Of course, our heart heals and gets better. But the heart itself in the physical body is very important to allow any process to unfold, particularly your ascension process. Why? The heart sends more signals to the brain than vice versa. The human heart is now documented as the strongest generator of both electrical and magnetic fields in the body. Important because we've always been taught that the brain is where all of the action is. While the brain does have an electrical and a magnetic field, they are both relatively weak connected to the heart, compared to the heart. The heart is about 100,000 times stronger electronically and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. Important because the physical world as we know it is made up of these two fields, electrical and magnetic fields of energy. Physics now tells us that if we can change either the magnetic field or the electrical field of the atom, we literally change that atom and its elements within our body and this world. The human heart is designed to do both. So that's why when you draw the Prema Agni and the Prema Dharma Dhatu, it helps heal your heart. You call in the energy, place your hands over your heart, it helps awaken your high heart chakra, and takes the relief and pressure off the heart doing everything and just do what it's supposed to do, which is allow the process to unfold and radiate in the body without taking on extra work and pressure. and getting heart attacks and all this closing down or whatever. This is the ascension works in real time. It's not just one overwhelming singular event, So I just wanted to go over that with you because it's very important for you to be aware of this stuff, right? And, just like you exercise physically and your internal organs and processes work better, so too as you exercise spiritually, your ascension centers activate and flow and feel better. We have to get used to being aware of these parts of our body, that we previously sleep to, and self-help care there too. And all the tools that I've been giving you, that you've been given through humanity, and that I've stressed to you through the Stargates in the past 2 months and the workshops, from utilizing the sacred symbols and calling in the energies, and we'll still be doing, all that is yours. I can't stress it enough. I can't beg you I beseech you, behooves you to do it every day, but I can only give you the information and the experience when we're in workshop together. I'm not with you 24/7. We're all on our own, right? So that's why doing a Prema Agni to yourself every day is very vital. So again, think of all of this as an adventure. Each day bringing in more and more light, and let the rest take care of itself. It's an ongoing process, to your passing and beyond the next lifetime. It's not an end in itself. There's no need to reach for it anymore. No need for all those extended rituals, shamanic or otherwise. If you want to do them, fine. If that helps you and you still attach to them, great, but you don't need to. That is the biggest thing spiritual people are scared of. I am presence, please be presence. I am present, be present. And haven't happened because a lot of people's livelihoods are based on following rituals and things that are no longer necessary. If you take that away from them, take away their livelihood. So, but they have to transform and evolve just like we all do. That's why I never went into all that, what I call sixth ray energetic application, because I was already connected with the new now. Why have a middleman you don't need? There's nothing wrong with it. It's still a pure intention, but to say that Reiki is the be all and end all is ridiculous. Reiki came in to start all this process going, and it still has a pure value if it's done with integrity and light and unadulterated to keep that going universally. But as we evolve, other modalities and symbols and things come in to mirror that, and we have to align and adapt to that. We're now in the penultimate stage where there's really nothing beyond the rising star and Prema Pranahuti. If there is, great. I'll be the first to adapt to it. Let's see what happens. But now the universe is telling us with all these signs and symbols that this is it, kids. Let's go. And so now, thank you for joining me this whole time. What I'd like to do is to close with a communal intention to really invoke the Mahatma together one last time and really get it into your craw. So again, that when you go to do it on your own, it's better. So if you need to get up and shake it out, I'm going to do it myself because you've been sitting down a little bit for a long time. These workshops have been lasting about 2.5 hours. Just get up and then come and sit down and relax. And once more, get comfortable. Straight without being rigid. Close your eyes. You can take 3 deep life force breaths in through the nose and gently out through the mouth. And by the end of those 3 life force breaths, please again close your eyes. As we now intention once more the Mahatma energy, the divine feminine itself, the closest light of God we can experience in human form, to penetrate now our softened auras, and irradiating in every nook and cranny of our being, give over now as we repeat together the sacred word, which is the thing itself. Let your body do what it will. Just trust and surrender to your destiny. And repeat after me. Mahatma, Mahatma, Mahatma. And just enjoying for a moment longer now in this space with us, here in this workshop event, the grace of the Mahatma reaching you. Know again that it is in your power every moment of every day to connect like this on your own and experience this and more. Whenever you're ready, slowly open your eyes, come back to the room. Thank you once again for joining me on this ever-unfolding journey of calling in the energies of creation. I encourage you highly to continue to do so daily, to share these videos with anybody you feel who may be interested. Refer back to it if you will. There's more coming. The next one will hopefully be on 4/02/2022, where we will take you even further. We're connecting with your I Am presence and starting to bring everything all together. So we're on this whole journey together. And again, it's a process. Every person's the same, but we're all where we're at. We'll have our path. We all have our mission. God bless, and see you soon.